Edward, my brother from a European mother. How we doing?
Yeah,
Oh,
that's it.
where are you in the world right now?
I'm currently in Mexico City for another few days. On Sunday, I go to Europe. Going to be there for a couple of months. Then we have Africa. Then it's Australia. It's then the US. I'm going to try to hunt down yours area somewhere.
Wow, so
We'll see.
you're hitting four continents in like the last
Uh,
uh over this year.
yeah,
You're in South America. Now you're gonna be in North America,
I mean it's
Europe,
five even.
yeah, Africa, and then Oceania.
Yeah. No, but like it's so funny. I don't want to complain because it's going to sound like the most privileged person ever. But like in one sense, it's super cool. But in one sense, I'm like, shit, I would love to stay in the same place for a bit.
Yeah.
And yeah, but I've said yes to too many things.
Yeah, and I'm sure traveling with the dog too is a whole nother challenge as well.
Yeah, definitely. It's I've had so many bad experiences with going to the airport, thinking that I'm completely prepared, double checked, called the airline, everything is like all said and done, and then oh, where's this document? I was like, where did you tell me that I want that? No, that's not my responsibility. You were meant to have it. If you don't have it, then you can't go. So yeah, I missed flights.
How long have you been kind of living this nomadic lifestyle, digital nomads lifestyle, if you will,
Yeah, I mean, pure digital nomad for the last 5 years.
for the last
Like,
5 years?
yeah, so it started the 4 years, February 2022. That's when I decided that I just I just wanted to go and not be limited by an office. Like I want to have the freedom to work whenever I want, wherever I want, and started my own business and been working as a freelance web designer for like it's so interesting. I feel like it's one of the most noisy, loud industries in the world, but there are so many people who are just mediocre.
Yeah.
Like, which is sad. It's like I don't know how many people I've talked to who like, yeah, I hired a guy, paid him $500. It was terrible. Like you told me that too.
Yeah, that was my story. That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll definitely get into that as well because I'm curious, like how you got into that and everything. But can you kind of take me through like your journey? So you're living in Europe in your hometown that you grew up in. Is that right?
Yeah. Well, yes and no. So I was living in Australia for 3.5 years before that. Um, Not as a digital nomad, but yeah, I don't know. I've always just been a very curious person and feeling like having lived in Sweden for where I'm born and raised for like first 19 years of my life, I was like, I was born and raised on this farm out in the middle of absolutely nowhere. And it's a huge farm, and we had like 1,000 pigs and a bunch of animals. And I remember just like watching video, feeling like I had like I don't know if you know what this if you can convert, but 5 kilometers. Do you know what that is in
Yeah,
miles?
yeah. 3.1.
Okay,
3.1 miles for all our Americanos.
all right. That's what I had to the closest friends. So like so isolated, watching
It's not
TV
that
and
far.
like I mean, but
You
that
can
was
run that
one.
in 25 minutes.
Like that's such a you thing to say. You can run that. Um, no, but I remember just always watching TV and like dreaming like, wow, there's a big world out there, and here I'm isolated on this little country farm thingy. So when I became an adult, I just started traveling and living abroad and loved it. And it's like, damn, people are fascinating. Like
Yeah, wow.
different cultures, like even like a state from like I don't know New York to Pennsylvania. It's huge difference, right?
Yeah.
And this then when you go to another country altogether, it's so different yet it's so beautiful at the same time. So I've always been inspired just to see different cultures and places and stuff like that. So
Interesting our connection on that. So I was living in a place called Coventry, Rhode Island,
Yeah.
and Coventry, Rhode Island is kind of like what you're talking about. It was the sticks.
Yeah.
My dad has like a little 2-stall horse farm, and um, my mom, although we lived in a neighborhood with a lot of other people, it's like the city was about 30 minutes away.
Yeah.
And as I got older, I started to work in the city and was like, wow, like this is interesting. And then when I was 21, I moved to California and I really had that, like, kind of what you said, like, holy shit, it's so different here. And I started to meet people from all over the world, and it really kind of opened up my mind and got me to be more curious. So, like I could really relate to you on that. So you're in Sweden, you kind of have this, like, I gotta explore more. I want to get out. I want to be amongst other people. And then you move to Australia and you work there for 3 years.
Before that, I lived in Norway for like 2-3 years, then in Denmark for like 2-3 years, then in Sweden for a short bit, and then Australia. But when COVID happened, I my visa in Australia was running out, and I was like, okay, I know I'm probably not gonna want to extend it and stay with the employer I was with at the time. So I need to leave, go to Sweden, and middle of the COVID, guess what genius decides to start day trading as an amateur in the middle of COVID? So lost a lot of money.
Sorry. Sorry to laugh.
I don't care. But then I just felt like, okay, I want to get a remote-based job. I know I have skills. I know I have drive and intelligence. I can figure most things out. So I started working as a freelance sales agent for a web agency, and it was great. It was awesome. Like, I started making money without needing to be at an office, and I could be anywhere. And yeah, I'm super grateful for that experience because it's like such a useful skill to learn sales, first of all,
Totally.
and websites and marketing. And yeah,
It
I
really
just feel
did.
like, yeah, if you're dedicated to whatever you do, 1 month and you're going to be like in the top 90%. If you really like learn about something. So, so yeah, and now I started my own web agency.
Can you break
And
that down a little bit for me? That kind of philosophy of if you really dedicate yourself to something, you'll be in the top 10%, or can you kind of break that down for me?
yeah, I mean, I think the Pareto's law is super interesting, which is like wherever you look in all kind of societies and communities, it's the top, or it's the 20% of your efforts that give you 80% of the returns and reward. And they see that in wealth, they see that in health, they see that in everything. And then when you go a little bit higher to the top 10%, that's really when you start being a lot, very, very unique. And if you just would like, I meet so many people who would love to be a digital nomad. Like, probably you and I, we've both been in Ubers where the driver asks you, like, so what do you do? And you start telling a little bit like, oh, I'd love to be able to do that too. And I'm like, do you know how easy it actually is? Like, spend 3 weeks, do nothing but learn about any freaking topic that is valuable to society. You're probably going to be in the top 90%. But just like that dedication of let's really figure out to learn this. And today with AI, that's easier than ever. Dude, this is something you and I should probably do. Like, I want to take 30 minutes every single day, or even 15, to just start asking ChatGPT, hey, talk to me. You're now an expert at websites. I'm just going to follow my curiosity, ask questions, and you just teach me. So what is a website? How does it work? And then you get an expert that teaches you what you care about. You ask questions, you get it. Like, you just follow your curiosity. But I know that's not a problem for you, but I do sense that a lot of people just don't have that curiosity.
Totally. And there's these things we call the twin thieves: fear of failure and fear of judgment. And I get this all the time as well. It's like, oh, like how fortunate you are, how lucky you are. How do you do it? And I'm like, it's actually really, really easy. And especially with this ultra intelligent chat GBT that we can utilize. I had a little bit connected to this, a little bit different, but I put out a poll on social media the other day, and I was like,
Uh,
I had asked people, what's more important to you right now? Getting in the best shape of your life, getting your money up, or finding your purpose? And whatever people responded to, I had sent them a prompt to send to ChatGPT. Just a simple prompt on how you can find your purpose.
wait, just so I get it. It was a poll. It was like a Insta story or something like that.
Insta story, and then they would click what was most important to them.
Interesting. And then, so let's say that I clicked money.
If you
Then you
clicked
sent
money,
them, yeah. Then you sent them a prompt like, "Here's how you can do that."
yeah,
You're
I
freaking
literally
genius.
had ChatGPT create the prompt. I was like, hey, I'm creating a poll. And this is something that I'm glad that we're getting into because we talked about this on one of our lunch dates. um, I literally asked ChatGPT, I was like, hey, I'm creating a poll on social media. And whenever people click X response, I want you to create them a prompt so they can help get their money up, or they can help get their workouts up, that get into the best shape of their life. And it's just simple. It's like I'll read you the because I literally sent this to a girl the other day.
Dude, this is so smart.
And this can be also, hey ChatGPT, back to what you were saying, Edward. Hey ChatGPT, help me create a prompt that's going to help me work digitally so I can move to Colombia. So, for instance, the prompt for getting in the best shape of your life. This is what you would say to ChatGPT. So if you listening want to get into the best shape of your life, say this. I'm ready to get in the best shape of my life physically, mentally, and emotionally. I want you to be my elite virtual coach. Ask me the right questions first to build me a customized fitness and nutrition plan based on my current fitness level, my goals, my available equipment or access to a gym, my schedule, my dietary preference, my menstrual cycles. I had sent this to a girl, so we added this into it. My menstrual
Yep.
cycle, if you can help align training with my hormones. Then I want you to create a 90-day transformation plan with weekly training goals. Include meal guidance that's sustainable, energizing, and supports fat loss plus lean muscle. Check in with me daily to help support to help me stay accountable. Remind me weekly to track progress, photos, blah blah blah. Whatever. I'm doing this right now with an elite CrossFit plan, and I had them create it based off Matthew Frazier and Rich Froning to combine their methodologies. And just so you know, and the listeners, they're the top two CrossFit athletes in the world. So I'm getting this for free to get them to create a fitness plan for me. So it's like the availability of what we can use on ChatGPT and AI is remarkable. You just have to know how to effectively prompt it. So when those are listening, it's like, oh, I want to live remote like Edward and Ethan. Use ChatGPT and then do what Edward said, which is dedicate to get to the top 10% in that field.
Dude, this is, first of all, that's so freaking, I don't know if I should even say smart. It is smart, but like it's available to anyone. The whole new business that I've created, it all started with a ChatGPT prompt where we basically said, hey, I have a business partner. We're trying to start a business. Here's our skill sets. Help us figure out what we should do.
That's how you.
That's a short version of it. But, and then it's like the problem, the way most people use ChatGPT or any AI tool is like, help me lose weight. Horrible prompt. Like these AI tools have really made me understand this wise thing that I've heard so many times. The better of a question you ask, like asking the right question is half the answer. So the better of a question you ask, the better of an answer you will get. And that's AI. If you give it context, if you tell it exactly what you want to need, who you are, like the right context, what the goals are, how you want that to be achieved, it's gonna give you the answer. And it might not be 100% there, but like at least it's 95%. And like, yeah,
You know,
dude,
it's
you and I
a
nerded out about this, so it's
Yeah. And I mean, it's important that we nerd out on this as well because we understand how important it is and we understand how effective it is on our, because we're both entrepreneurs. We both have businesses that won't work if we don't put input and we're not consistently growing. I think a lot of people maybe aren't using AI because they have some type of manager or role that they are in their life. So they're
Yeah.
like, oh, I don't need to worry about AI because this is my job title, this is what I do.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if you understand that, okay, look back in the early 2000s when the computer came out, and people were like, especially the older people were like, no, that's not going to take my job. Whatever. Here we are now. And now AI is the new computer. So whatever it is you do, your job is a threat. Your job is to the threat of AI. So you just got to get good with it and you got to understand how to utilize it. And most people see change as scary, but it's actually awesome.
It's
It's so
awesome.
awesome. It's so
Do
cool
you?
because you can use it to create the best life ever.
Yeah. Do you listen to Steve Bartlett's podcast, The Diary of a CEO?
Yes, not as frequently, but I do really like it.
Yeah. He asks so freaking good questions. He had on like this panel. I listened to his podcast just a couple of days ago, and it was this really good example of Eric Weinstein was one of the guys who was like freaking super genius,
Yeah.
and he said, "This is the perfect example. In New York, if you are the best taxi driver in New York, you're probably 20% better than the average, which is still quite significant. But going forward, if you know how to use AI, you're going to be like 1,000% better than the average. It's such a leverage that if you don't want that advantage, like, all right, good luck competing, like good freaking luck. So, I mean, like it or not, I just feel like you adapt or die, really,
Yeah,
with AI.
totally. And it's kind of got me thinking as well for our listeners that maybe they're a cop or maybe they're someone and they've never actually thought really entrepreneurial, but there's not a better time in history to be thinking more entrepreneurial. And how would you recommend someone to utilize AI to create like a side business that's aligned with their passions? Do you believe that this is something that more people could be doing or should be doing?
Of course, of course. First of all, a cop. Imagine how hard that job must be.
I
God
got a couple
damn.
buddies that are cops. Yeah, I mean, respect out to my boys. I don't know if they're listening, but buddy Andrew, my buddy Steve, they send me Snapchats, bro. It's no joke, and they're not getting paid a lot.
You know what's interesting? Like if if I somehow magically could just change the way society works, I would be like, what kind of jobs actually provides the most value? Those are the ones who should be paid the most. But in our society, is not that at all. So I'm thinking like a teacher. Is there anything more important than a teacher for kids who help kids? Like, wouldn't we want the absolute smartest people to teach our kids so that we get like a better, smarter kids and future in society? I feel like that. Police, healthcare professionals, fire, like these people who actually keep the society running and safe. I also, sad thing is like politicians just are so, I don't know what the right word is, but like it's so prone to corruption. If that could be avoided somehow, that would be amazing. But like, yeah,
Yeah, it's like on paper they're they don't look like they're making a whole lot, but it's what they're doing off the paper.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah. Jesus.
Does anyone in the U.S. like her?
I've never met anybody that likes her.
Interesting. Oh,
I also don't
oh,
talk politics too much. But so yeah, let's use the example as a cop. Like, let's say I got a buddy who's a cop, or I got a buddy who's a CPA, a tax professional. What could we utilize? How could we utilize AI to help them to create a side gig?
well, if you already have a business, like the thing that I always do is, so I I'm starting a YouTube channel where I do like live website transformations using AI. So you come to me with a website, you've experienced this already. I ask a couple of questions about your business to understand the context. okay, here's your current website, here's a little bit of what you do, here's your target audience, here's your end offer, essentially. When I have those pieces, I can go to ChatGPT, or I use a tool called Perplexity most often, and I
Yeah.
just say, for this kind of business, what is the amount of traffic? What are the amount of conversions, leads? How much business should I be making? And how can I get there? Give me a recipe of the top 5% of business in my space, and how can I get to that level in the next 6 months, or whatever that is. So it's like, that's if you have a business and you already know what you want to do. But another thing, another thing that I did a while back ago as well is like, I watched this video. There was like this monk who also said like, imagine taking 30 days. Make sure that you have food, you can sleep, you have like your basic needs are taken care of, but then only study one topic. How good do you think you would get in 30 days? And I was like, this, if you take 30 days to study just how to use AI, everyone would freaking want to hire you. Like everyone. I came up with this whole, when I used a prompt for this, I was like, I want to figure out a way that I can make an extra income. Here's my passions. Here's what I'm interested in. Like, help me figure out a plan and an idea for how to make that happen. Once again, anyone can do that. Here's my skills. Here's who I am. Here's what I feel very passionate about. And here's how much money I want to make in the next 6 months, 12 months. Or here's what I need to make to pay my bills, or whatever that is. Support my lifestyle. Gave me a financial plan. It helped me brainstorm, like, okay, so you like this and that, you like personal development, you like to travel, you have a dog, great. And then it completely custom to my situation builds a plan. Anyone can do that.
Wow. Even putting in there and make sure that this skill set is AI proof. So you
Yeah,
can't go ahead and take my job in 2 years.
yeah,
You can
that's
literally
right.
prompt that as well.
Yeah,
What we'll do is for the listeners, I'll put in that prompt. I'll have Edward send it to me, and we'll kind of craft it. We'll put in a version of that prompt in the description, so you guys can copy and paste that, and you can utilize
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Um, that's awesome. And it's like I was talking about this last night on that date I was telling you about because we were talking about trying new diets and trying like this parasite and heavy metal detox I'm doing right now. And I was like, anyone can do anything for 30 days. And she kind of gave me a weird look on that. But I was like, well, I can do anything for 30 days. And if you just believe that as truth, 30 days is not a long time. Like, think about last month on what day is it? The 11th of May.
Man.
And think about what were you doing on the 11th of May? Okay, it really wasn't that long ago. So if you just commit from June 11th to July 11th to learn AI, and you know that would add an additional, call it over your lifespan, that would add an additional $10 million to your overall net worth over your whole lifetime. Would you commit to those 30 days starting now? It's a serious question. And it's like, yeah, I would do it. Well, then do it. Utilize it. It's super simple. We tend to overcomplicate things because we feel like it should be more difficult than it actually is.
Yeah.
And AI, artificial intelligence, even the name kind of sounds a little bit like, oh, okay, I didn't even graduate high school. Maybe someone thinking, I can't learn this AI. It's made for you. It's made for the person that did not graduate high school.
Exactly.
Do you have anything to say on that? Or I had another question for you.
I mean, yeah, the thing, would you say that you're very stoic, like in your philosophy?
I would say so.
Yeah. I
Depends.
sometimes I feel like, and this is probably a thing that I need to work on, but like I'm more in my head than I'm in my heart. And for me, when I like in COVID, when everything was like, yeah, take these vaccines, these chemicals, shoot them in your body, and you'll be better. Like for me, it's just like it all sounded. I did it, but it all just sounded weird. And I made that decision in like 21st of May 2020. I was like, okay, why don't we just freaking take care of our health? I'm not an authority. I'm not a health expert. I've been physically active my whole life, but I'm not in the best shape of my life or whatever. Let's just try to do something extreme but still manageable. So I was like, I want to work out every single day for a week. I'm not going to kill myself. I'm not going to work out so I'm sore the day after, but like at least 20 minutes a day. There's no day where I can have an excuse not to set aside 20 minutes to move my body. So I did that and I did it for a week. And of course, sometimes I went a little bit harder and sometimes I went a little bit softer. But then I did a week, and because I didn't kill myself and push myself too hard, I was like, oh, I actually feel pretty good. So now that I've done a week, let's see if I can go two. And then I did 2 weeks. And they say, of course, there were challenges and there were days that I didn't want to do it. But like, I was just committed. Let's do it for a short term to build that momentum. 2 weeks turned into 1 month. And then the magic happened. That's when you go to the point where it's like, when it's 3 days, you've done 3 days, you've done a week and a half. You're like, oh, should I do tomorrow? Or like, should I do today? I don't know. But once I've hit 1 month, it was a kind of interesting switch where what instead, damn, it's more painful to lose this streak than like, let's just do it. Let's just get it done. And then 1 month turned into 3, 6, 12. And then just a couple of weeks ago now, May 21st, was the 5-year anniversary every single day. And I was like, if you would have told me that on May 21st, 2020, I was like, no freaking way I could ever do that. I couldn't even do a month. Even 2 weeks was like, it's just not possible. But as you said, like just building that momentum, it just gets easier. But that's so hard to see before you start. You just have to start that and make that commitment no matter what. Like 20 minutes. Yeah. I'm just bullshitting myself if I'm saying that I can't do 20 minutes a day. And that freaking led to 5 years. And I always think like, how can I live life on easy mode? What makes it more easier than if you're healthy? You have more energy, you sleep better, you feel confident in your body, you're strong. Like everything gets easier when you're healthy. So I think if there's one thing people try to commit to first, even before AI, get the health right, because then everything else gets easier.
Yeah.
You might not even have the energy to think if you don't have that in line. So
Yeah. You got a seriously foggy brain. And I really like how you put that, because it goes back to even like they utilize this in AA, and you've probably heard it before, but like taking one day at a time. People will break addictions by using this philosophy where, just taking it 1 week at a time in the beginning for you, which was, okay, I can work out for 20 minutes. And then that led to 5 years. And, I've seen you in person, you're in really, really amazing shape. And who knows, not just where your health would be, but also where your business would be and everything else if you didn't make that commitment to your health first.
oh, sorry.
Hello? No problem. So it's just, that's such a good point. And, as we were talking about AI, what is the difference between Perplexity and ChatGPT?
So ChatGPT is built by OpenAI. It's one platform, and they work in a similar way. So you feed it a prompt, and it use that information to give you an answer. Perplexity, it's super cool and interesting because they use multiple different LLMs at the same time. So it uses ChatGPT, but also use like Claude, it uses DeepSeek, and it uses a bunch of ones. So they feed it the same prompt, and this is at the very least as far as I understand it. And then it gives you the unified answer of those. The weakness with ChatGPT is that it makes up a lot of shit, which a lot of people don't even realize. But Perplexity always give you the sources. So for like, it depends on what you're doing. Brainstorming, I would still use ChatGPT. But if it's like research, planning, Perplexity is so freaking good on that. And then the output, you can then convert into a website straight away and share anywhere. So if you find some really cool stuff. Like you do a really cool prompt on how to become a digital nomad, and you ask a really advanced prompt, you get a really good answer. Great, post that, convert that into a website, and then you can share that with your network. And such a super easy way to just provide value.
And that is through Perplexity, right? Like you'll put that prompt and have Perplexity create a website. Does Perplexity have like because for instance, people see online, it's like, oh, like I see Billie Jean is marketing creates like this version of him that's speaking and using AI to create this version of him. But you try and prompt ChatGPT to do that. It's like, oh, this is against our rules. We can't do this. So are the secrets like are people using Perplexity for this, or how are people doing this, and how are you guys even creating like a picture of me that is AI created, but it looks just like me. But when you try and do that with ChatGPT, it it looks nothing like it looks kind of like me, but not really like me at all.
Yeah, yeah. So I think you also need to train it a little bit. So there's all of these AI tools. The thing is, like the go-to is ChatGPT, but ChatGPT is good at specific things and not everything. So it depends on what you really try to do. There is a tool that we use that is called Kria, or we use Kling if it's videos. But then you basically you train the AI. Here's what Ethan looks like. You send me like 10 different photos, and you train how does Ethan look like. And now, so my business partner did this, which I thought was genius. She fed a couple of photos with herself, and then she created a vision board. Instead of being like this stranger, it's her. So she said, I want to learn how to surf. Create a photo of me surfing a big wave. Her face on a surfboard, standing, it was so freaking cool. And then it was like, create a photo of me coming home to my dream house. And my house should look like this, etc. Maybe fed it a couple of videos. And then she got a photo, or if it was a video, with her walking into her dream house.
Wow.
So like,
And what
so
platform
freaking.
is Steph doing this on?
I think this was Korea.
Korea, okay.
And it's really freaking interesting what it can do. The first thing that I would say, and this is something that you know as well, like we need to have a vision. I always find it's without a vision, you always lose your direction of life and stuff like that.
Totally.
Once again, go to ChatGPT and say, hey, I want to create a vision board. Help me, guide me through the process. I've never done this before. Help me create a vision board that is really going to inspire me to fulfill my potential. And then it can guide you through, okay, so talk to me first about health. What are your goals? What is your dream? What would be the perfect scenario? And then you can start answering and go back and forth. And you can then create a really good vision board for that. And then if you want, so now you at least have it in writing. And then you can take that, go to something like Korea, and say, now here are 10 photos of me. Create photos that, first of all, one photo that reflects this, the health, here's financials, here's family, relationships, whatever that is. And then you can see your dream life. When you can see where you want to go, it's so much easier to make the decisions that are going to get you there.
Yeah. Yeah, and on a neuroconscious levels, like a super conscious mind, like seeing yourself, it's doing some work in your
Yeah.
brain as well on a subconscious level. So that's super
Yeah.
cool. I mean, we're going down a few different paths with AI, but it's so interesting because there's so many ways you can utilize it. It's like, hey, do you want to learn how to make money? Okay, but do you want to have it create your vision board, which is such a great idea, and especially that she's able to put her own face on the surfboard. I mean, there's almost no doubt in my mind that we're gonna see her surfing in like 2 years if she continues to look at it, and then most importantly, she actually still wants to do it, right? Because goals change. Goals change.
Exactly.
Wow, wow, is that interesting?
Did we? I don't know now because I'm not the one who's doing the work in my team. But did we send you the photos? Did they come out yet?
Yeah, yeah. Let me. I'm sure I
So go
just
to
showed.
tinder.com/Ethan.
Oh, yeah, they sent them this morning. Some of them looked like me, like literally looked exactly like me.
Yeah.
So
So
like this
that's
is
AI
AI
generated?
created. Yeah. And then like this one, like my head looks weird and like you see the monks in the background. So this one they kind of botched up on, but like it still
Yeah.
looks like me. It's just off. And then this one, like it got my smile right.
Look at that.
And then there's one like it even got the veins on my arms. Like those are actually how my veins look, which is interesting. But
That's
like my head is a little bit
wild.
off on this one.
Yeah. But I mean, if you would have showed me that photo and not say that they were AI, I would be like, ah, that looks like Ethan. You know, I have probably photos of myself that look less like me than what AI could create.
Yeah, me too.
You know?
Yeah. Very,
So,
very fascinating.
but I think we went in a tangent here. We started talking about health, and you asked me about cleanse.
Um, yeah, so we were talking. I mean, yeah, we've kind of gone a little bit all over the place with AI, which is good. And I kind of like when conversations go like this. But yeah, I mean, you started this health journey, call it 5 years ago, and walk us through that. How has that been for you? Where are you currently at? Why is it so important to you? And if you want, we can talk a little bit because I know before we talked a little bit about the parasite cleansing and heavy metal cleansing, so we can dive into that as well.
Yeah,
But I guess walk us through your journey and kind of what are you doing now in
yeah.
lieu of that?
I mean, I'm gonna keep that up. I don't find that there's any habit that I've developed in my life that gives me more returns than the health thing. And it's also interesting because once I built momentum with exercising, and I think it's just good to highlight once again, my workouts are in three different categories. High intensity cardio, could be body weights, running, something like that. Another one is strength and building muscle, like go to the gym. Traveling makes that a little bit tricky. I just bought like resistance bands. You can buy that for $30 on Amazon, and you have resistance band. You can pretty much build any kind of muscle with that, unless you want to be a bodybuilder, you know. But to be like way above average fit toned body, resistant bands is enough, and they weigh not even like a kilo, and you can bring them anywhere. And then the third thing is mobility. So
Yeah,
some
super
days I
important.
just stretch and do some yoga. But then once I started building that momentum, like I also made the rule that because as long as exercise every single day, I'm allowed to eat whatever I want. But because you start building muscle or building, you know, get a better fit body, you don't want to eat shit every single day. Then you're like, actually, what will help me sleep better? And what will help me have more energy? Yeah, your diet is gonna have a huge impact on that too. Okay. I don't need to be perfect, but at least it just then you start experimenting with like fasting, intermittent fasting, and then you start taking some like it all just drizzles down into better shit.
Mm.
Like such a good habit that it was never my plan to do 5 years, you know. But yeah,
Since you've
I've done it.
tried all of like over the 5 years, you made a good point. It's like as you try more, you test out new things, and there's kind of an overabundance of information, right, on the internet of diets, workout plans.
Yeah.
So, what did you find works best for you, and is it constantly changing though?
It's not constantly changing, but once again because I'm a curious individual, I'm like, how can I get a little bit better? So I mean, I have family members who uh, who aren't like far from ideal with their health, and I just find like the first thing that you should get right is sleep. When you sleep well, you have more energy, you have more willpower. Like everything gets easier with good sleep. Once sleep is there, then it's probably exercise, just because it's such a good way to get more energies to move your body. I don't feel like diet can do the same thing straight away at the very least. So for me, it's like diet is probably sleep first, then exercise, then it's probably like diet in terms of my
Interesting.
priority. Yeah.
What are some ways to kind of enhance number one, enhance the sleep?
I think once again, it's like so much about building momentum. Like before you start doing my extreme thing of working out every day, just say, okay, I'm going to go to bed at 10 p.m., make sure that I get 7 hours at the very least. So I get up at, what is that, 5, 6 a.m.? Or even if it's 7 a.m., doesn't matter. But like be in bed, lights out 10 p.m. I'm going to do that for a week. Let's find a buddy or someone, some form of accountability. Or if I just want to do with like myself, I cannot, I want to buy this thing, or I don't know, I cannot make this, I cannot buy this thing until I've done these 7 days, no matter what.
Mm.
And just make that like, have integrity. Just like, yeah, if I commit to this, I'm going to do it.
Do you have like a watch or anything that tracks your sleep stages? Oh, you got a Whoop.
Yeah,
Nice.
I have a Whoop. I didn't have this when I began though. This came a lot after, and it's super helpful too. Like when you get a little bit of data and you don't, you just see your graphs over time, you're like, nah, I don't want to screw this up.
Yeah. The
So it's
data for
definitely
me
helpful.
helps because this was a big reason why, like one of the big reasons drinking kind of came one thing that came off my plate, and I know we can kind of connect on
Yeah.
this, is I really started to see the effects with my sleep because once I wore
Mm.
my Garmin and I took training really seriously, and you know how important like not just sleeping for 8 hours, but to have like a good balance of REM and deep sleep.
Oh yeah.
It's very very important, and you get zero on the deep and REM if you know were boozing all night,
Yeah.
which is crazy.
Yeah. Why did you, like, what is your journey then? I don't know if you talked about this on other podcasts, but what is your journey with health?
I've always been an athlete my whole life. In 2022, I realized I was making a lot of money in business and I got fat. And to me, that was like really strange and I wasn't used to it because I was always in relatively good shape. And then it's funny, it's like I got my money up finally in life and I was doing well, but then my health went down. So I started training for a marathon with my cousin, felt really, really amazing. And then I tore my ACL. So while tearing my ACL, MCL, PCL, I was down for almost a year. And throughout that time, when I realized, like, hey, this body's on a rental agreement, I made a commitment to myself that I'm going to get into the best shape of my life and I'm going to stay there. And I want to stay like this for the rest of my life because when at the end of the day, we're all dopamine chasers. We're all just trying to feel good. And I feel best when I work out, I'm eating clean, and I'm staying committed to things. So after I healed from my ACL, the doctor said, "Hey, Ethan, you probably shouldn't run again." I was like, "Watch me." So I ran a marathon not even a year later after full knee recovery surgery. I ran an ultra
Naughty
marathon.
Ethan.
Naughty, naughty man. I ran a full ultra marathon, and then I got into CrossFit, which I really love. And um, now I'm at that stage where I'm the most athletic, the most flexible, the strongest I've probably ever been in my life um, because of that commitment. And I'm just adding to it all the time. Like I'm finding new ways of how to be more flexible, how to be more athletic. And to me, it's super important to make it interesting. Like I can't just go to the gym Monday through Friday like I used to do when I was 16, 17, 18, and do chest on Monday, legs on Tuesdays, back on Wednesday. Um, that's why I like having CrossFit style workouts. Like today, I'm doing some legs and then I'm moving into some gymnastic work. So I'm like walking on my hands for 5 sets of 50 feet, which is, I don't know, 10 meters or something. I'm not really sure on the distance on that, but walking on my hands and then doing some ring muscle ups. And to me, it's like it's really exciting and fun to be able to like get to the point where you can see the growth of like,
Yeah.
holy shit, I could not even stand on my hands a year ago. Now I can walk for a long time on my hands.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like my exercise journey there.
But just what you said there is it's that thing that we always say we wait until inspiration or motivation comes to us, but it's doing. There's nothing that gives more inspiration than doing it for a bit and you start seeing results. Then you're like, oh hell yeah, let's continue this. No inspiration, you'll like no book, no podcast, nothing can replace the inspiration you get from seeing results. And the only way to do that is to do it for a bit.
In your results too. Like
Yeah,
seeing your results that
exactly.
you're getting, that you're putting the work in, and it doesn't happen overnight.
Yeah.
Like I remember when I first got into CrossFit, I thought I was getting results, and then I was like, damn, like this is taking a while. It took
Yeah.
like 6, 7 months for me to actually start seeing some results in my body, some changes, some times changing. But then it was kind of interesting around like that 6, 7 month mark of being really committed. I got really good and I got really quick and I started being able to hang with like the athletes that have been doing it for 4 or 5 years, which was really cool. It's interesting that you put exercise in front of diet. That's you're probably the first person I've ever heard say that. Most people are just like diet's the most important thing and then exercise will come after. Can you kind of can you break that down for me?
I don't know if I'm right.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't.
I think that's a good point. Excuse my interruption here, and then I'll let you go. But it's what works for you, right? That's so
Yeah.
important nowadays. Like, what the hell works for Ed? Okay, let's do that.
Yeah.
What works for Ed might not work for Ethan, or might not work for Julie, or that's watching this.
Yeah. No, but it was kind of just like diet is always there. We do eat every single day. But working out, exercising, it's more of an event, I would say. And I mean, it terrifies me being old and not being able to use my body. Like that. No, no, no. I want to live a good quality life when I'm old too, not just when I'm young. So even if you have the best diet in the world, if you do not move your body, like it's gonna deteriorate. So, but man, it's been so hard too. Like there's been so many, being a digital nomad and you're on a long ass flight. Like I had this when I left Colombia now, about a month ago. My flight was at like 10 p.m. But I get up like in the morning, and then I had some friends over. I had like a goodbye thing. I treated some of my friends to like a massage at my place. Then we had some breakfast, and then last minute Ed started packing, getting everything ready, and so on and so forth. And then traveling with the dog, you need to be at the airport really early, sort out all the paperwork. Comes 10 p.m. and then I'm flying to Mexico City. It's 4 hours. I land at like 1-ish, and then it's migration. Then travel, get back to my place. Here where I am right now. I was here probably like 3:30, 4 a.m. You're not super hungry to work out at 4 a.m. after such a day. But like that inner voice that we all have that tries to bitch us out, like, oh no, but it was a long day. Don't do it today. Because I have this momentum, I was like, there's no question. I'm just going to do it. So at
Wow.
4 a.m., did the workout. That, once again, I would never have been able to do that week one or week two or month one, probably. That's because I kept that momentum up and going with my exercise, build like that inner bitch voice that tries to talk you out of doing the thing that you really know that you should or want to do. It just gets quieter or quieter, or at least it gets easier to say, "Shut up! I'm going to do this anyway."
Bro, that's such a good point.
Yeah,
Such a good point. Keep going though. I just wanted to.
yeah, but it's also just being adaptable. Like, I've had COVID, I've had injuries, and that voice comes up again. Like, you're sick, rest. Just don't do anything. But instead of resting, I just like, okay, when I had COVID, which lasted for a week, I'm just going to stretch these days. So I don't, put my body through a lot of like resistance and stress and stuff like that. Like as long as I just stretch for 45 minutes, I can do that even when I'm sick. It's not going to make it worse. I still build my momentum and do the thing. And injuries, yeah. So we keep coming back to AI here, but I also made it so easy to not have an excuse. Like I have my resistance band. If I have a 3 square meters, what is that in feet ish?
No clue. Probably 10 feet. I don't know. 10, 12 feet.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Like that I have anywhere. And then so one of the best things that I did, this is probably if we're talking about health, there's an app called the Down Dog app, which is freaking amazing. Because
Down dog.
Down Dog app.
Weird name, but okay.
Yeah. So they have a bunch of different apps. They have yoga, they have HIIT, they have Pilates, they have a bunch of running. So what you essentially do is you say, how much time do you have? And it's one of these like circle sliders. And then you say, yeah, I have 35 minutes. And then you select what you want to work out, upper body, lower body, whatever that is. And then it just creates the program for you. And it's variety every single time. So I found like me setting up the app takes me 15 seconds. And then now I just need to follow. I don't need to think. I don't need to plan. I just follow whatever the F it's telling me to do. So some of these kind of things just made it so easy. Because a lot of the times when you want to go to the gym, it's like, oh, what am I going to do? Yeah, but I did back yesterday. And like you talk yourself out of it because you need to plan something.
Totally.
And that app, I think the subscription is like $20 a month or whatever.
Wow.
But
This is I talk about this a lot in the DreamState, our coaching program, but when people have these problems, I'm like, go join a fitness group. Go join like a CrossFit class, a yoga studio, some type of HIIT workout, because when you go there, you don't need to worry about what I'm going to do. You don't even need a prompt down dog. Because people are so like in the beginning, like week one, like the motivations, and maybe you can relate to this. It's even hard for people to download Down Dog, commit to $20 because they can't see the future yet. And like, oh, another $20, but they're not thinking like, yeah, how much is your health worth to you? But joining like a fitness group is really important for those same reasons where it's like you don't need to worry about what you're going to do today. Have you ever been a part of like a class like that, and did you find it valuable?
well, it's a kind of interesting thing of like what you say you want to do and what you actually do. Do you know Derek Sivers?
Never heard of them.
So he's one of Tim Ferriss' favorite guests. I like such a interesting thinker, and he had this. He has a really good audiobook that is called "Hell Yes or No." You would love that book, Ethan. Like knowing,
I already love the name.
yeah. So it's basically, I think it's like 50, 60 different chapters. Every single chapter is maybe 2-3 minutes long. So it's super digestible. But he lays out a concept and then asks you a question, typically. So one of my favorite chapters in there was, he told a story about like his coach. He had come to his coach and it's like, yeah, I have this business idea that I want to start, and I don't know how to do. Like, should I quit my job or like? But I really want to do it. And then his coach was like, "No, you don't." And he's like, "What are you talking about? I'm super passionate about this. I really want to make it happen." Like, "No, you don't." He's like, "F you? Yes, I do. How can you say that?" Like, and he's like, "Yeah, because you've talked about it for such a long time and you've never done anything about it. Your actions tell you what you really value rather than your words. So I can tell you that you've talked about this for years and you haven't done it. So there's something you value more than doing this idea. You don't really want to do it." That's what I say with group workouts. Throughout these 5 years, I have not had a gym membership for longer than 2 months. Partly because I'm traveling and going to different places, but like, that's why that app was so awesome. I pay. You get a. I think I got a free 1 month trial or whatever it was. But after that month, I was like, oh, this is just so freaking good. Like I would the the value that I'm getting for those $20, where I don't need to go to a gym, I don't need to talk to someone, I don't need to plan it. It's not a specific time, an hour, where the class is, and so on and so forth. I just need those 10, 15 square feet and 15 seconds on the app, no thinking, no planning, no nothing. And then I just follow whatever they tell me to do.
Well, and that's
So,
awesome because that's good for like your personality type, which is good as well. That's just like, hey,
yeah,
and I'm sure a lot of people can connect and relate to that as well.
yeah,
Where I'm a little different, where I like the community aspect of working out. I like working out with people and high
yeah,
fiving people. You know, I played hockey growing up, so just like the
yeah.
locker room aspect of it, I think is
But I
valuable
do
to
love
me.
that too. That's why I'm saying, like, I either this is just me making up an excuse here, but I always think like, what is the? I work out every single day. I work from home. Like, I live in a quite small circle because of that. The reason why I got out of the door every single day is because I have a dog. Like, otherwise I would be freaking stuck in my place working and working out and do
I think
virtual
we talked
calls.
about this before. Yeah, it's like we have to motivate ourselves to even be social sometimes. Otherwise, we're just
Yeah,
working the business all the time and like,
but like, what is the best play? Like, I'm gonna work out every single day. I'm already committed to that. Why don't I just go out and do that with other people? I can get to know interesting people, especially if they're interested in health. I know we have something in common already there. Dude, by the way, do you know what I heard? I heard a really good advice. Your environment obviously has a huge impact on who you become. They
totally.
always say like you're the average of the five closest friends you have. And a lot of people are surrounded with people that pull them down rather than push them up and lift them up. So I heard this really good advice of where do you find people that is gonna pull up your game. I haven't done this yet. I haven't done this yet, but I will. Find the most expensive premium gym near you and just go there early in the morning. Because people who go to a premium gym, they probably are money and successful. If they go there early in the morning, they're disciplined and you know go for it. And because they pay a premium gym, they must value their health. And I'm like, that's one of the first things, and that's why you and me bonded on really early. It's so cool. I bet people listening to this think that you and I have known each other for a long time. What is it like?
Yeah.
We've hung out
Oh,
like two, three times.
I don't even think that, Ed. We've hung out like twice, or yeah, we ran into each other, and we've stayed in touch. And of course, you're helping me out with DreamState with the website and everything now, so we've been talking a lot there. But yeah, we really like it was an instant connection when we met, which is really cool.
Yeah, yeah.
It's interesting you bring up this premium gym thing. So I have a kind of funny story. One of my main reasons for wanting to stay here in La Paz right now
Uh,
is I'm a part of this extremely elite premium gym here in like a nice area. You have to be
right?
invited by a guest who my buddy's a guest there. And it's like I was able to get a better deal because of the currency exchange, but it's $250 a month to go to this gym in Bolivia. So it would be
Okay, and
like
curious, what kind of people are there?
it depends on when you go. In the mornings, it's it's just it's really like the probably the top 1% of Bolivia, top 1% of La
That's
Paz
exactly what I'm saying.
is in this gym, and it's called the Tennis Club de La Paz. So it's a tennis club. So a lot of people are there for the tennis, but they have like five state of the art gyms, sauna, cold plunge, another sauna, cold plunge, three, four restaurants inside of this place. I mean, it's an absolute palace. There's no reason to leave it. And that's why I was like, yeah, there's no question I'm spending. I think I gave $250 for 2 months membership, which I got like half off because my buddy Nico is a legend. Shout out Nico. But the place is amazing, and I'm connecting with like that girl I went on a date with last night. I met her at the gym.
Yeah.
She was really beautiful. She was crushing a workout, and I just went up to her. I was like, "Hey, you're killing that. Like, what's going on? My name is Ethan."
Yeah.
And it's not just for females. I do that with men too. I do that with guys.
That's what you did
And
to me, bro.
yeah.
But dude, you're so good at it. Like I remember when we met there outside of the place where we're staying. Some people, it's always like, hey, it's stiff. With you, I felt like this guy is just the easiest guy in the world to talk to.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I never do it. So
Likewise with you as well. And I think I know why. Because you and I both make commitments to ourselves that we keep. You've been making a commitment to yourself for the last 5 years, and you've been showing up to that commitment. So this gives you some type of internal confidence, and at least I know it does for me, which I just kind of speak my mind and I say what I want to other people because I'm good. Like I'm good. I got what I need. So I kind of just say what I want to people, and it ends up being people like it. And I'm not worried about what people think about me. It's because I have this good relationship with myself. And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna fucking talk to this dude about aliens and just see if he like connects on it. And usually it happens. Like people are cool with it.
yeah, there's always ways to open. Like you can clearly tell if someone is just like, maybe you don't go straight into like the deepest, most fucked up conspiracy theory, but you can tell very quickly is this an open-minded person or not. For me, it's just fascinating that some people are even sensitive to even make jokes about some certain topics. Like I love comedy, so for me it's maybe becomes quite natural. But like everything, we should be able to just joke about. But there's some people, you can sense like, okay, I probably need to walk around this topic.
Yeah. Do
But
you
with you
find
and
that a
me, it's
lot
like,
with with us it's very open. Do you find that a lot with
yeah,
like your travels is you kind of have to maybe keep a filter on?
yeah, yeah.
Mostly
Um,
with like the locals or other travelers?
Other travelers is super easy. I don't know any type of community or type of person that is easier to get to know fast than travelers.
Yeah.
You wouldn't travel unless you're open minded to explore something new and different.
Really good
Like,
point.
yeah. So travelers for me is just like anyone who's traveled alone for at least a month have probably had the experience. Yeah, I made a super close friend in 2 hours
Yeah.
because like you don't have time to play the game. You don't have time to like, yeah, let's see if we can meet Tuesday next. Like, no, maybe this person's gonna leave tomorrow, or I will. So let's just screw the playing hard to get the game, and you connect straight away. So travelers are super easy to get to know, but also, like you and me, we both have different travel plans. So we're probably not going to be able to hang out as much. We can do stuff like this. We have virtual
Yeah.
calls, so we stay in touch this way.
And then it's cool. It's like when I was actually just thinking this when you were talking. I was like, when is the next time Ed and I are going to see each other and like
Yeah,
when we'll be able to spend a month together, which would
yeah,
be really cool to look forward to that because that month will be like such an amazing month because there'd be so much to catch up on that maybe we've connected on virtually, but like, hey, now we have a lot more time together. We can hang out and talk, do workouts together, and do all this
yeah,
type of stuff, and just really
yeah,
enhance the relationship. And it's cool. It's like we don't mind to wait. We don't need to force things, which is also another kind of cool thing about the people you meet when traveling. It's very
easy
like,
maintenance.
yeah, free flowing, and it's just like, hey, if this works out, great. No problem. Something else will come across.
Yeah, but
I want to ask you. Sorry, go ahead.
I do sense that you're a little bit more extroverted than I am. Like I rarely talk to strangers, like very very rarely. And this is probably one of the things that if I had nothing to do, like finance, business, career, that's just not something I need to think about. What would I like to improve? It's probably like that, just being more comfortable talking to strangers. And that's also one of the weirdest limiting beliefs or like fears that people have. But like in Sweden, we're always so freaking conditioned. Don't talk to strangers. And
Yeah.
because it's cold freaking 360 days of the year, everyone stays home. It's a very reserved society that aren't as outgoing. So that, yeah, that's something that I would love to, like, did you inspire me to do?
Yeah, and I appreciate that. I'm more than happy to help with that as well because I may seem extroverted, but I am more on the lines of introverted. My buddy Les, who is in Medellin, he kind of pinpointed my personality type recently, and I forget exactly what it was, but I'm actually more introverted, but I have extroversion tendencies. Because if you were to put me with a group of people, like that night we went out to the cigar night, like I needed to go home and meditate because I felt very energetic. Like I feel energetically drained
Yeah.
after being around big groups of people. Like I can be very outgoing when I'm there, but that was through diligent practice my whole life. So when I was in high school, I realized that traditional education was not for me. So I, fortunately, by the grace of God, and I had really amazing parents that helped me understand my unique skills. I was like, okay, what am I good at? Well, I'm good at communicating and I'm good at developing relationships. So I need to double down on this now in my life. So I spent the last over a decade of my life working on developing relationships and my communication skills. And a lot of that came from a good way to practice with, by the way, is with women. Um, and if you're a girl watching this, a good way to practice this is with men, is understanding how to speak with someone that you just met, but also where people get this wrong is they think that there's something that they need to get out of the interaction. But how can I speak with something without expecting to get anything in return?
Yeah.
That is the best thing you can do to start. Is okay, I'm going to speak with this person because I'm genuinely interested in just speaking. And okay, maybe you're not genuinely interested right now, but you need to kind of sell yourself on getting genuinely interested. And if your goal is to actually, let's say you're in a room of 5 people and there's a really beautiful girl that you would like to talk to. Well, talk to the person that's right next to you first. It doesn't matter if it's an old lady or a man, because what you're going to do is you're going to tell your subconscious mind, you're going to tell the environment that you are the type of person that just talks to everybody. So when it's your point that you're next to the really beautiful girl, hey, I'm the type of person that talks to anybody. Hey, what's going on? How are you? And then from there, if the connection's there, the connection's there. But what people do to get this wrong is, and I got a buddy that does this, where he creates, and I love him to death, and this is just his style. This is just what he does. But he creates such pressure around meeting women, where he calls it cold approaching. And I see this so often where people are like, they need to try and make it a game. I'm like, dude, it's a lifestyle. Just be interesting. You're psyching yourself out, and you're psyching the people around you out, and you're freaking the girl out as well. Just stop overthinking about it and just do. And how do you do that? You start being that with not just the pretty girl, but with everybody around you. And that's why I'm so free flowing with men, old people, women, because by the time that the person or the girl that's really beautiful that maybe I have intentions of what maybe wanting to pursue a relationship with, it's easy. There's no friction. Because I already talked to the old lady at the coffee shop today.
Yeah.
I already did all of this. So I got those reps in, and my frequency is at a higher level. So
Yeah.
that's just kind of like the initial of what I'd really recommend, which is
Yeah.
opposite because people are like, oh, you need to read the book The Game by Neil Strauss. And I'm like, it makes me want to throw up when people talk about that.
You know, here's a new habit that I want to implement. Last week, I was in Puerto Escondido in Mexico. It's a beach place. I went up early in the morning, and I just went for a run on the beach. And once again, being Swedish, and like I used to be so social awkward and weird and whatever. So that it's that getting started thing. Like for some people, as we've been talking about with health, for me, the getting started engine that I need to just really force is social. But I made this decision that I'm going to run on the beach. It was around a 40-minute run with my dog, and I will listen to. Do you know Jim Rohn?
Yeah.
Yeah, listen to some Jim Rohn on Spotify, because that's like really talking about like wise advice. And then every single person that I run past on the beach, I'm just going to say good morning. That's it. And it's a Monday morning. There's like hundreds of people on the beach, but it's a long beach, so it's like 3 people there, 2 people there, 1 there, and I just said good morning. That's the only thing. And like when I got back, I'm like, this is so good. Energy, I just worked out really good. I was listening to Jim Rohn, so I fed my mind with like really good thoughts and information. And I did the simplest thing of just saying hi to strangers. Bless you.
Thank you.
And I was like, that just felt so good. I got to do this every single morning. I'm going to start every single Monday morning doing this. Because then talking to someone else, talking to someone else the rest of that day wasn't hard at all.
I challenge you on that as well. So say hi to everyone, and then with one person, say, what did you do today so far? Just something along those lines, or what do you have planned for the rest of your morning? Just a very, we call them open-ended questions. So an open-ended question that allow the other person to speak and to hear them speak. And what that's going to do is you're going to feel good because you approach someone and just ask them a question, and then they're going to feel good because they're having interest shown in them, and they're going to open up a little bit more. So I challenge you to ask an open-ended question as well. And for anybody who's listening, add that to what Ed said. Ask an open-ended question, and remember the first thing I said before. Don't expect to get anything in return. But just an open-ended question and show genuine interest. This is a really good point that I've been dialing in on a lot my whole life and teaching a lot lately, whereas listen to understand, not reply. So when someone's speaking, we tend to think about, especially when we're a little bit nervous in social settings, this is normal, but you're thinking about your response and you're not actually listening to them because you feel you need to respond in a certain way and you don't want to come off as socially awkward. So while they're speaking, you're thinking about like what you're going to say next that's going to make you sound cool or going to make you not sound like a boring person that grew up in awkward Sweden, which you're totally not. You're very, very interesting. You're very enjoyable to speak to. You have a warm presence about you, and people are going to feel that as well. And I'm sure people who are listening as well, you have all these tendencies as well. You just created a story in your mind that you're not that.
Yeah.
And sometimes, unfortunately, things are going to happen where people are going to reaffirm that story. Where you're going to go up to someone, and these are actually a good test of your emotional intelligence. You're going to go up to someone, and maybe this will happen more in America or probably Sweden too, not so much in these Latin American countries, but you'll go up to someone and say, hey, what do you have planned for the rest of the day? And someone, especially in the Northeast of where I'm from, will be like, what the fuck's that up to you? What the fuck's the matter to you?
I mean, Americans can be like Swedish people are like at least polite and they don't want to cause any drama. But the limiting belief that I have in my head is like I'm just bothering them. They didn't ask for me to talk to them. I'm just going to bother them. And I also thought about like my dog is such a great asset because everyone walks up to the dog and starts a conversation. But a lot of the times I've heard this conversation a billion times. Oh, that's such a nice dog. What's his name? Yes, thank you. His name is Louis. Oh, how old is he? He's 3 years old. Great. Look at my dog. I have a photo. I also have, and you're like,
Oh,
I
God.
can't remember. Like it's hundreds of times that happened. So now I'm the guy when someone comes up to me, I'm like, are you going to do the same old show me your dog photo conversation again? And like they don't mean anything ill. It's not that they're rude. It's just like this is what I feel like I have empathy for really hot girls because they must have the same shit happening, like the same conversation over and over and over again. So I get that they can get like a little bit defensive when someone walks up to them because okay, here we
Mm,
go again.
yeah.
That's what I am with the dog, you know?
Yeah, it's actually a really good point because what can we learn from that? I kind of like to think about things like this. What can we learn from that? And okay, the next time we see someone with a dog, let's not do the normal, oh, hey, what's its name? Or just like say something. I love saying really out of the blue things because it shows my personality right away. And so if I saw you and I saw you with your dog and I wanted to go up to you, I would maybe say something along the lines of, hey, if I can beat your dog in a race, will you give me $5? Can I get coffee? So like just something completely weird like that. And it's like by you thinking I'm gonna say, "Oh, can I pet it? What's his name? Louis? Oh, Louis dog, like from Sublime." Um, and it's like, "Hey, if I beat your dog in a race, will you buy me a coffee?" And it's just like, okay, now I get a sense of this guy's personality. So maybe you're not goofy like me, but what can we say that'll
Yeah.
kind of show our personality right from the beginning?
Yeah.
And I'm kind of like my brain works in a very I'm trained in improv and acting. So my instincts are really good because I've worked on them. So I've learned over the years that I'm able to trust my instincts. And this is one thing that we teach in DreamState, which is how to trust your instincts through improvisational and acting classes and
Mm.
exercises. So I know that I can walk up to Ed and not have anything planned, but I know that my brain is going to give me something to say right when I
Mm.
walk up to him. But you also have to understand that sometimes it won't land. Like you got to be okay with failing. You got to be okay with, this might not go where it goes. And, you see this on social media where it's kind of annoying to see this stuff, but I actually give these guys a lot of props. Like the dudes on social media that go up to people in the middle of New York and say, "Hey, I love your outfit. What do you do for a living?" Like that takes a lot of balls to be able to do that. And, these guys make a lot of money, I think, from doing this. But you see sometimes they play like the oh, I'm busy, not now. And we are all as human beings like that, where we have these defense mechanisms. And I think it's actually cool what these people are doing because people by watching this are learning to open up more. Because the people that are really shut off, they look really mean, but they're not. They're just normal human beings. And when you walk into like a Best Buy or something, you know what Best Buy is?
Yeah.
Um, you walk into a Best Buy, usually they have someone at the front that says, "Hey, welcome to Best Buy. Do you need help with anything?" "No, I'm good." And then 2
Yeah.
minutes later, you're like, "Fuck, I should have took that guy's help." It's because we have
Yeah.
it's because we have normal like human defense mechanisms.
Yeah.
So another good thing that kind of
That's so true, bro.
so true. Another thing that kind of helps with like feeling like you're not bothering someone is just understanding that one basic human thing, which is we have
Mm.
defense mechanisms. But you know
Mm.
what's cool is to break through those. And you're in sales, so sales taught me this, which is okay, how can you like break someone's pattern and break through these defense mechanisms, which is really cool. So I go up to Ed, I'm like, um, "Yo, bro, cool dog," and you're expecting me to just be like a normal person. You're kind of shut off, and then I completely maybe switch the scenario, which is like, "What are you doing here in Colombia?" So then it's like an open-ended question.
Mm.
The reason why people kind of probably make you feel a little bit uncomfortable and annoyed is because they're really not showing any interest in you. They're just showing interest in the dog, and it's not really making you feel good. And it's kind of annoying because you got a ton of other shit that you probably got to get do, and this person's petting your dog. So
I think
yeah,
the
human
fear is just
psychology
being
is
stuck
interesting.
in a boring conversation that I've had with 100 other people. But yeah, do you watch a lot of TEDx talks?
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you heard? There was one. My favorite TED talk is a guy called Drew Dudley, and it's a seven. I think it's like 7 8 minutes. So it's a really short one. But this guy told a story about how someone has come up to him and said, "Hi, you probably don't remember me, but you completely changed my life." And he's like, "Okay, what happened?" So 3 years ago, I was going to the university. It was my first day. The day before, I had a nervous breakdown, and I told my parents I don't want to go. My dad, I might be butchering details here, but my dad just said, "Let's just go there. If you don't want to do it, just be one day there. If you don't want to go, we'll take you home." So they go, and there was like this sign-in registration thing. It was a long line. She was standing there, and she was like, "Okay, nope, nope, I'm gonna leave." And then this guy comes up, and it was Drew. He had I think it was like a bucket of candy, and he had tapped the shoulder of the guy in front of her and said, "You need to give this lollipop to the beautiful girl behind you." And he was like, the guy in front is like, "Okay, here," and just hand it to her. She married that guy. So and he was like, I have no recollection of this ever happening. So I also do find that like if he, I think he was assigned to do the job and give out lollipops in that line or whatever it was, but like I think we all have actually changed lives that we're not even aware of. We did this thing like, let's just say that you and I never would have talked again. But I'm like, oh, that was such a nice thing he did, and came up and talked outside of that hotel or the building. Like, I think there's so many moments like that that we're not even aware of. You just need to have the courage to, rather than be passive, just do it. You know, it's a super good TEDx talk.
Yeah, I got that down. I think about that a lot. I guess maybe sometimes when I'm like a little bit low energy, I'm like, yeah, but maybe there's someone out there that, and I think about this too, like, does anyone dream about me? Kind of a cool thought. Like, maybe I was in someone's dream last night because I have dreams about random people, and it's not like I text them and say, "Hey, I dreamt about you last night." Like, it's a little creepy. But also, it's like, hey, even last night, I was walking down the street and there was this girl singing English beautifully. And I just turn around, I go, wow, that is beautiful. And they like giggled, oh, gracias. They didn't even speak really English, but it was awesome. And it's like, hey, maybe just that really, maybe they, I don't know, maybe that helped them. But yeah, it's cool. It's like when we think about that, it gives us the opportunity to say more nice things as well in the world because you never know, like this guy Drew, that girl could have came home and her life would have maybe completely been different. Well, totally been different. She wouldn't have got married. And maybe she wouldn't even have gone to school because she was having a nervous breakdown. Wow.
Yeah, it's it's, but that gives a lot of hope. Like, yeah, maybe that guy gave out lollipops to 200 other people and didn't change their life at all. But like, if we could, I mean, maybe they got married, probably they had kids, who knows? It's a small little thing, just giving a lollipop here, do this, give this to this girl, this guy, whatever. It's just such a small little action that I just don't think we were able to realize the butterfly effects of that.
Yeah, that's a good metaphor. Give the lollipop. There's a spiritual law. It's called the law of giving and receiving. And within this law, a way to practice this law is to make a commitment that today I will give something to everyone I come encounter with. Now, this doesn't mean that you give everyone a dollar or a flower. Giving can be even a thought. So you could be in an elevator and it might be awkward. You don't need to say anything out loud, but you can simply think, I really hope that this person has just an awesome day.
Yeah.
And that is getting you in line with the law of giving and receiving. And then maybe you have the courage to say, hey, I hope you have a great rest of your day. I really love your shoes. And that's really in line with the law of giving and receiving. And what's cool about the law, if you understand it, you're doing the act of giving, and the law states that you will always receive back as well. So if you want more love in your life, learn how to give more love to others. If you want more abundance, learn how to help other people get more abundance, and which is
What
really
what
cool.
what are you like? What is a trait or a skill or like a what are you trying to develop in the next 3 to 6 months? Like, yeah, this is something that I'm focusing on improving in myself or my life.
Hmm. Um, right now, God, I got a lot I'm focused on. Right now, I actually wrote this down today. Is I'm really trying to focus more on like um, consistent and aligned effort towards something because my brain, like admittedly, I'm a little ADHD brain, so I kind of like am sometimes all over the place. So I'm really focused on working on not accepting that as a truth in my life and just really being able to focus in on the on one thing for like 45 to 60 days without allowing it to change. That's been something I'm really working on. Like, just kind of implemented that into my journaling over the past week or so.
And why?
Because I know that it's going to help me achieve my goals faster if I'm able to stay in line with them and not let like the scatter come in. Because I get excited and I love adding new things to my plate. But if I can like see things out before adding something else to it, I know that it's gonna make me feel more fulfilled because I'm accomplishing more and I'm accomplishing what I said I'm gonna do, and also um, have a little bit of a clearer mind as well.
And what do you mean by clear mind? Like present peaceful, or what would you mean?
Like clear mind being throughout the day, like, oh, you need to focus on this business, you need to focus on this, you need to work on running in this marathon and doing this thing in CrossFit and doing this over here. And it's a little bit overwhelming for my brain. But if I just have like four things that I'm working on and I can stay committed to those, it's going to have a little bit more of like peaceful thoughts going on and not overwhelmed thoughts. Does that make sense?
Makes sense, dude. I'm so worried about. I don't know if we spoke about this. What worries me is in the world we live in, with all the freaking things that are trying to get your attention all the freaking time. Where's the brain's downtime? You know,
Yeah.
like where we don't have. This might sound super weird, but in some way, I want to be bored, or I think I need to be bored. I don't want to be bored, but I think I need to be bored. Last night, I fell asleep listening to a podcast. I'm like, why don't I just, like, can I just not let my stimulating my brain have a break from brain stimulation for a bit? Super weird.
I talk about this a lot because even with the podcast thing, I call it podcast porn, where we're overindulging in information where it's not even really
Yeah.
helping us because it's back to kind of the thing that I'm struggling with right now is I'm like overindulging in podcasts and
Yeah.
chat GBT and all this information and it creates a lot of like clutter in my mind. And, I have had a meditation practice for a really long time and it makes my meditations hard. I was in the sauna the other day and I'm leading a 21 days of abundance meditation group right now. And I was doing the guided meditation in the sauna and I caught myself like opening my eyes and thinking about like what am I going to do after this? And it's interesting because I was getting excited about what I was going to do after, which is like that's your brain playing tricks on you. Because it's like, yeah, you can be excited for that, but not now. Like enjoy this moment, enjoy this meditation and not think about all the things you're going to get done later. Like later is going to come, but can you sit with yourself right now and I'll test myself with this and I'm curious if you want to implement this as well. Where if I have like a plane ride, I'll purposely not do anything on the plane ride and I'll stare at the back of the seat and I'll see like how long can I do this for? And I'll try and go like the first half of the plane ride. I do this with fitness as well, where I have to earn the music. So you can't put music on.
Smart.
You can't put music on right away. You got to earn it. So you got to like at least break a sweat first, and then you can
Yeah.
put the music on. And the cool
Yeah.
thing about this, I learned this with running, is you would with running, I never ever would actually end up putting a podcast or music on. Only very rarely. Usually I'd be so enjoyed with the tune of my own brain and the thoughts I was having and the stillness that I wouldn't even go to the podcast or the music that I really wanted when I wanted to start it. So there's definitely some teachings in that right there.
A slow jog, not where you run to beat your personal best and like so on and so forth, but like a slow jog, even if it's music, but ideally nothing. Damn, that's good for the brain, especially for me. Like, oh, I get to think about so many things that has just been parked in the back of my brain for a long time, and I'm running, meaning that I'm on high alert, and now I can just think about things and process things so well.
How often do you that? Do you do that throughout your week?
I mean, most often I do have something to listen to, I would say. But it's one of those things that like whenever I do it, I love it. But I for some weird reason I just don't.
I have this philosophy called seek a dungeon, leave a dungeon, and I utilize running and exactly what you just talked about for this. So let's say like I have like monkey mind. You know what monkey mind is?
Yeah.
Yeah, for the listeners, it's like your thoughts are just uncontrolled. Usually, what monkey mind leads to is like going to drink alcohol, smoking a joint, whatever your vice is. It's usually what leads you to go to that vice. So, monkey mind, we can call it a dungeon, if you will. So, to like get out of this dungeon, you find another dungeon, and the dungeon may being like going to run for an hour, which might seem difficult. That's why we call it seeking a dungeon, but this dungeon that you're creating through physical effort is getting you out of that other dungeon that would have led you to maybe nihilistic thoughts or nihilistic behaviors or overindulging in vices, maybe even as bad as, some people have their own vices, but porn, alcohol, drugs, um, cheap
Yeah.
sex, whatever it may be.
Yeah. What is your where do you find that you get the most presence, peace, like inner brain calmness, so to speak? What do you do to get there? The meditation?
Actually, no. Um, my meditations, it takes a while to get there within the meditation, like at least 10 minutes. I find more of that calmness through like CrossFit and working out. Meditations, I'll definitely get there, but it takes a little bit longer. Like it takes me around 5 to 10 minutes of sitting in meditation, and then I'll get to that point of just like colors start zoom, 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 and you wake up, you're like, oh wow.
I rarely get there ever. I've tried to meditate so many times because everyone says that it's so amazing. I've had very, very few times where meditation really did that much to me.
Mm.
Or it could be that I'm just not seeing it or aware of it. But
I would really recommend. Jay Shetty talks about this in his book Think Like a Monk, but he calls it like a. I'll actually use the example that he used in his book to kind of explain this. But if you're married, let's just use an example. Let's say you're married and you're living with your wife, and things are kind of getting a little bit like monotonous and routine, and maybe the spice isn't there anymore. What is one good way to kind of build that spice up? Maybe booking a getaway, a vacation, to get that spice up. Baby, let's go to Aruba and spend 5 days in Aruba. Well, the way Jay Shetty puts this is sometimes you might need a vacation with meditation. So one way that I like to do this, and I've done this over the years, is I'll actually go live with monks in Thailand. And I've done this 2 times. I'm doing this a third time this December. So I call that my vacation with meditation. So I'm restructuring my relationship with it. I'm building my relationship through 4 days of like really immense, crazy meditation. And another cool thing about it, you don't need to go to Thailand. they have monasteries all over the world. My friend Alyssa, she went to one in Quito, or a little bit outside of Quito in Ecuador. They had a monastery, and most of these monasteries allow you to stay with them for free. And you can literally go practice meditation for 3 days. So I would recommend in your scenario, like it's going to be kind of really challenging to get to this point of just doing it on your own, but going to live and build up that hippocampus part of your brain with people that do this
Yeah.
for a living.
Yeah. That is one of those things that there are things that I feel like it's a huge difference between what we want and what we need. Yes, I don't want to work out, but I need it.
Mm.
I don't want to be strict with my diet, but I need it. I don't want to meditate, but I need it. And for me, that is just like, I think if I could look from the outside and into myself, it's like, yeah, I do need to take a break from all the stimulation. I don't want that, but I need it, you know? So have you've done a Vipassana?
Yeah, that's the style in Thailand is
I figured, you
Vipassana retreat.
crazy fucker.
I first did that when I was 22, and it really changed my life because
Yeah.
I just had, I was put on drugs from a young age, ADHD medicine, and when I went there, and it was so hard for the first 3 days, but then I kind of understood why people did it because meditation
Yeah.
is one of those things where a lot of people are very similar to you. Like, I just don't get it. I don't get it. I'm sitting here, it's stupid. And my mind also gets like that sometimes as well. So it's why I have this understanding of I need a vacation with meditation. And I'm at the point right now, like even going through this challenge where, and I also think guided meditations are a little bit bullshit. I think it's kind of like dessert. So I treat them like dessert. So like you got to earn a guided meditation. True meditation is sitting there with nothing. Naval talked about this with Chris Williamson, or maybe Joe Rogan. I forget which one, but Joe Rogan or Chris William asked him, he's like, so what do you do, like guided meditations? He pretty much said the same thing. He's like, no, it's bullshit. Like, what is meditation? It's nothing. It's nothing. Like to sit there and have Deepak Chopra say with nice, beautiful music, it's like a reward. You got to earn that. But true meditation is sitting in absolute nothingness, maybe in nature somewhere, and just really sitting with thyself. Because when someone's talking to you and there's music, maybe,
Myself.
oh, I love it. I don't know why that word makes people laugh, but my buddy actually said something yesterday. He's like, bro, I love when you say thyself. It fires me up.
It sounds so Shakespearean. But
Oh,
wouldn't you say that it's a good way to get started with meditation, though? Like with most things, we can't go to, like, no one can go from never having done a meditation to Vipassana. That's kind of an extreme jump. It's like going from never having worked out to doing a marathon.
I would challenge that though, and reason being is, um, let's say uh, you went to the gym, and I was like, "Hey Ed, try this pre-workout for your first time ever going to the gym." You'd be like, "Dude, this shit's fucking awesome. I can't work out without it." But you really don't need pre-workout. I find pre-workouts bullshit. I'll drink maybe a coffee, if that. Don't need it. And it's because I learned that. I think it's cheating. It's bullshit. So I think of a guided meditation, the same thing as pre-workout, where, yeah, it can be helpful in the beginning, but what's going to happen is you're going to rely on it because it's going to be so nice, and you're going to have a guide. But what are you actually doing? You're not really meditating because you're listening to someone and you're focused on their voice and these things. Um, so yes, I think it's useful, but I would recommend like almost starting out with it being more challenging by doing some type of vipassana, and then in the end, once you really understand meditation, then you can kind of influence some guided ones. But this is like a very like kind of gritty Ethan way to look at it. Um, so maybe like someone else that has maybe a lot more years of meditation experience would disagree with me. and say that guided would be a good way to start. But my experience, I think you should just kind of go face first.
Yeah. And again, as you said before, that works for you. I think for a lot of people, it's like, yeah, no, I'm really unfit. Let's start doing a marathon. Like it's just such a big jump, and I don't really know if that's something that I want to do. So they might need that little. It needs to pull you in, warm you up a little bit first, and then you can commit to the bigger thing. But again, it's not that I don't meditate. I meditated quite a bit. It's just that I don't know. I've never had that experience yet where I'm like, wow, this just really improves my life. I
When
get
you
that
did,
from other things.
two questions. When you did meditate, what did you do? And then what other things do you get that from?
When I meditated the most, I used, you know what's the guy's name? He's like a super Harris.
Sam Harris.
Yes,
Yeah. His meditation app.
yeah. Which was actually really awesome because not what I got most there was not the meditation, but he had these like 3-4 minute nuggets of wisdom every single day.
Ooh, I like that.
Super good, super good. So that I found like was really useful. But then you could do like a 10-minute or a 20-minute version. It was guided. Something was eyes open. Something was eyes closed. But I mean, like it was. I just think that I need that experience where I, like, yeah, I need to go to the extreme. I think to really experience here is the value you can get. My business partner Stephanie, she recently came back from a darkness retreat in Guatemala, where she stayed in a dark room for 5 days,
Oh God.
and she's done a lot of these like ayahuasca and stuff like that. And it's like I think for most people, a darkness retreat is better because ayahuasca is that's like the extreme. Have you done it yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like the most extreme version to go from a normal state to a different state and be confronted with your deepest, darkest things. I haven't done myself, so I don't know, but that's what I've been told. And she said, like with darkness retreat, it's like it's so hard to get into, but after a day, when you realize, like, yeah, now I'm so bored that I have to look inside and talk to myself. There's none of the superficial thought. Like I've already chewed on those, so to speak. I've swallowed those. So now I really just need to go in and learn about myself. Who am I really? When it's quiet, when there's no stimulation, who am I really? So yeah, she inspired me to want to go and do a darkness retreat or a vipassana.
How do you feel about that? I mean, I'm kind of terrified of doing that. A
A
darkness
darkness
retreat.
retreat?
Yeah. How do you feel about it?
Dude, you did ayahuasca. Like, it can't get more intense than that, can it? Like,
I didn't find ayahuasca that intense. I mean, don't get me wrong, it was intense, but I mean, smoke some 5-MeO DMT, that'll freaking send you to a whole nother stratosphere. Which
yeah,
I've done that.
yeah.
But the thing with, and this is what I mean by that. So when I think of a darkness retreat, that's 5 days where you're like losing track of time. You're not knowing what time it is or how long you've been in here. It's dark. You're losing all sense of like everything you've ever known. You've never gone this, your whole existence, you've never gone this long without not seeing the light. Ayahuasca, there's like, it's really fucking intense. And then you kind of come down a little bit, really fucking intense. Then you kind of come down. You can see things. You're getting visuals. You can kind of like look at your hands. So don't get me wrong. Maybe I said that wrong where it's not that intense. It's fucking intense, but you're also like
Yeah,
having,
that's what I've heard.
I've done it like 11 times or 9 or 11 times. So I've done it quite a few times. And yeah, I mean, only one point that I have to let go and surrender to death. Like I thought I was going to die and I just had to accept that.
That's what I mean. How can it get more intense than that? But don't you find like, aren't you curious without all external influences, what comes out of you or what comes up in you. I find that like that's the like I would really that feels like here's you're gonna get truth.
Yeah. I think because I'm scared of it is why like I should do it.
Yeah.
So are you gonna do it? Are you kind of maybe that or Vipassana?
Yeah, like I think they probably both get a fairly similar experience because in Vipassana you don't talk to people. You still can look and see things and so on and so forth. So I do think they give you like a little bit of a similar, like you end up in a similar state. What the fuck do I know? I have no idea, but I just, yeah, it sounds like very similar experiences.
One
It's
of the
just a
head
darkness that is different.
Yeah. One of the head monks at Wat Pat Tam Wa, so this is the monastery in Thailand, he talked about on one of my first times there, he said, one thing that you can do as an advanced is you can meditate in a cave for, I think, 24 or 48 hours. And the most important part is to not fall asleep. So, yeah. And this is
Can
what,
you though? Like I feel like
um,
that's very likely going to happen.
yeah, I guess, like, I think you can do it with a partner, and if you fall asleep, like they wake you up or something. Um, or you can do the Theo Von and have little jingle bells attached to you. I don't know if you've ever seen that skit,
He
but
did
it's
that?
hilarious.
No.
No, he has this skit. This is way out of left field right now, but maybe someone's listening. Theo Von has a skit that he had a brother that used to try and like rape him. So he would he would attach jingle bells to himself when he was sleeping. So if his brother tried to take his pants off, the jingle bells would ring.
Jesus fucking
The jingle
Christ.
bells would wake him up. So I'm thinking like you attach
Uh,
some jingle bells to your arm, so if you fall asleep, you can wake up from the jingle bells.
man, I love stand-up comedy and I pay attention to all of these guys, but I think I've missed how much he has exploded. Like he's become so freaking big lately.
He had JD Vance on his podcast the other day.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that. But I mean,
Yeah,
he was the first real. Wasn't he the first one that had Trump on?
I think he was. Yeah, because Rogan came after Theo because Baron Trump was like, "Dad, you need to sit with Theo
Yeah,
Von."
yeah,
And I mean, Theo is fucking hilarious and he's relatable to a lot of people. I think this is why podcasts are blowing up as they are because you have these guests that are really relatable to the normal, like Joe Schmo. And then he's also good at asking questions as well. And then he has a lot of humility, which you don't see a lot in traditional media, is people having humility.
he was like talking about like how he was snorting cocaine and stuff with Trump,
Bro, it was fucking hilarious.
and then he called Trump homie and stuff. Like he's such a cool dude. But the thing is, you can also tell that he's not. That's not a persona he's putting on. That's just so him.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's hard to know if he's doing a skit or if it's actually him sometimes. Like I'll go on Theo Von rabbit holes where I'll just listen to like his funniest clips if I want a good laugh because he's also reminds me of a lot of guys I grew up with who are just like so funny with like almost not trying to be funny. Do you know anybody like that in your
Yeah.
life?
Oh yeah. Totally.
I love being around those people that are
Yeah.
just so fucking funny and they're like it's just them, it's just who they
Yeah.
are.
Yeah.
And whatever that comes out of their mouth is just gold.
Yeah. Yeah. Fully agree.
I just
Fully
love
agree.
people like
Who's
that.
that for you? Who's that in your life?
Uh one of my I got quite a few people. So the first person I can think of, my buddy Zambo, who like when Zambo just says something, he just knows how to like get me to laugh and he'll say like he'll be so serious in the way his brain works but he's so serious, but it's so funny as well that it's kind of like a little bit Theo Von-esque. Like he'll come up to me and be like, "Dude, I figured it out. We we have been put on this earth because we are the chosen dicks," or something like the craziest shit out of left field. And I'm just like, what? And then he'll go down like this rabbit hole of like where his brain went with why he just said this complete thing out of left field. And it's just that's an extreme example. Um, and then man, who else? Who do you have that's kind of like that?
I mean, what I do find is interesting is like, I think maybe even you and I are that person to some people. Like, I am so, the people you grew up with in high school and middle school and stuff like that. Like, I don't really keep in touch with those friends of mine. I have a lot of good friends from that time still. But when I get back to hanging out with them, I feel how my personality revert back to who I used to be back then. And it's sort of like the same when you go back to your mom and you all of a sudden, like you and me now are disciplined and do our shit. Go back to our parents' place and we're freaking lazy, and I
Yeah,
just feel like it brings
eat
out a
mac and
different
cheese
personality.
and
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Um, but I mean, I find that in some ways my there's some people, some friends where you're like, we have just the best, most interesting conversations that both can be deep and serious, but also can be the funniest, silliest. Like I very often have had that with my sister, for example. We can we can talk just about the craziest, stupidest, silliest shit, and then we can also talk about like what we want to do better in life and so on and so forth. Like there's, yeah,
My brother John is like, well, both my brothers actually. My brothers are like that too, but my brother John is his brain just works in a very interesting way, and we can talk about like just the most left field things ever, and then also talk about like real things,
yeah.
which is interesting. And that kind of leads me to a interesting question I have for you and how I want to wrap this up. So
Okay.
I thought about this question earlier, but we're getting to that 2 hour mark. So I really enjoyed this today, but I wanted to test you and see if, let's say, hypothetically, like aliens came down to Earth and they chose you, and they were like, Ed, this is what we're going to do. Um, Earth is coming to an end. There's only about 40 more years on this planet, and then it's going to almost like self destruct. So, because of AI and because of everything that's happening on Earth, it's pretty much going to self destruct. Us aliens, we've been trying to warn you guys forever that you're over abusing technology, but you haven't been
Don't
listening.
listen.
You just don't listen. So, you have two options. We're nice aliens, so we're going to give you options, Ed. The first option is you can stay here on Earth. We're not going to force you to do this. But the second option is we're going to bring you to another planet, and we're going to use you and co create you with another species that is from a whole different planetary system that's dealing with a similar problem.
I
Um,
get this question all the time, bro. This is so boring.
and so you can stay on Earth and like live with your family, or you need to come with us and you're going to mate with this other species. The thing is, this species is an alien species, so it doesn't look like you. But you guys are going to create, and we've already tested, and we know that like you're going to be able to create life together. Um, and the caveat is, if you decide to come create this other species, you can't say goodbye to your family. Like you need to leave right now. So, what would you choose?
Yeah, I think so. So one thing that I actually genuinely believe is like, I'm not I'm not I'm not an atheist, and I don't follow a specific religion, but I do think there's some form of creator of whatever this reality is. And in all religions, we talk about heaven, pretty much. Um, and if you live a good life, you come to heaven. Like, I genuinely believe, like, imagine the shit we can do on this planet. We can go to all of these cool freaking places. I can have so many deep, interesting conversations. People like you. I can. We have animals. We have dogs. How cool are dogs? Like, we can have
Dogs,
sex. We
dogs are
can do.
cool.
How the fuck is this not paradise? Like, I almost feel like we are put on paradise with the mind fuck of like, will you realize it? Will you
Mm.
actually realize that this here? I mean, what can't we do here? Yeah, I'm not saying that there's not pain and suffering and stuff like that, but once again, would you live a life without pain and suffering? I don't think so. I always Ricky Gervais had this really cool show. Had this really cool show a while back ago with, it's called the Ricky Gervais Show, where he interviewed Carl Pilkington. Have you seen this?
I feel like you told me about this because I think I
Yeah,
know where you're going.
yeah. And it's basically, imagine you can go into a pod and we are going to program you to live the absolute dream life you want to live. Just tell us now here. I'm going to take notes. What kind of life do you want to live? You can do anything. You can fly. You can be with whatever you want to be. You can achieve. You can do whatever you want to be. And while you're in the experience, you're not even going to know that this is scripted. So it's going to feel like this is just happening naturally to you. So how is your life going to be? How do you want me to code this experience for you? When I ask that question to a lot of people, they're like, I wouldn't want to do that. Like, well, why would I do that? It's not going to be real. And it's like, well, you're not going to know anyways. That's what your life could be right now, anyways. So how would you code it, first of all? Before we decide if you want to do it or not, what would you do? And then, you start thinking about your dreams, and I want to start this business. I want to be a billionaire. I want to be able to fly and whatever. But then at the end, if I ask, okay, so do you now want to live that life? Well, no, I want to live this life. Why? Well, because things are real, and I don't want everything to be perfect. Interesting. So you don't want your life to be perfect, yet we complain about these obstacles that we have in front of us, and I do too. So in my head, I do kind of already feel like we are already in heaven, but we have this mental defect that makes us forget it. And that the goal is, if you can remind yourself that that is actually the case, we can have the most beautiful food, we can have the most interesting conversations, connections, everything. So back to your question, oh, I want to explore both scenarios, but no, I think I would stay here on Earth.
You did really encapsulate it with that answer, and I appreciate the depth on that.
That was a weird answer to a weird question.
Yeah, exactly what I wanted. It's it's interesting because I heard someone talk about recently that um, that Earth is hell, and then after this experience is freedom and is heaven, and Earth is very painful. And this was someone that was on Aubrey Marcus's podcast, so it's a very intelligent person. And I really couldn't agree with that. I was and I was like, I don't understand how you're seeing this, because this is beautiful. This is real. We're able
Yeah.
to feel things, and to, even if this is just some type of program or whatever, but we're still able to feel things and feel emotions and go through struggles. And without struggles, really there'd be no point, because the highs wouldn't be as high as they are without the lows as low as they are. And at the end of this, and I find the whole heaven concept exciting, because it's like, damn, this place is so freaking awesome. I'm having such a good time here. It's gonna get better. Okay, then why would we be afraid of dying as well? Like, let's make the best out of here. And I think that's like a beautiful way to express your soul as well. And I'm not sure if past lives or future lives or something that you believe in, but you know, if that is true, I believe that it's up to us to make sure that our soul is really enjoying this experience, expressing it to its fullest ability, and not causing harm to others, so that we can actually enjoy another great life in our next life with this soul.
Yeah, freaking dead on. It's so interesting that you know we all think we live in the same reality. I don't think we really are. Like I don't think it is as simple as atoms and molecules. If you've done any kind of psychedelics, you know that like that there is. I don't know what it is, but that there is something. There is something different, and I, yeah, I think exactly what you said. This experience we get to have, like, it's very likely that we are in a simulation if you listen to the mathematical, the logical reasoning. It's very likely that we're in a simulation. And a lot of people are like, no, 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 I don't want to believe that. But like, doesn't even matter. It's not going to change anything. Whether we are in a simulation or not, we're here. Anyways.
Yeah. You know what I think about sometimes? Like, if strawberries taste the same to me as they do to you. Or if
Oh,
like,
yeah. Do you see
or
red
if,
when, do you see
yeah,
red the way I see red?
yeah, or is your red green?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, it's a
Um,
fascinating point.
yeah, man.
Well,
Definitely.
what a weird, awesome way to finish this up. I appreciate you greatly, man. It's just it's so nice to catch up. We could have gone on for hours,
Yeah.
and you know I look forward to that our next time being together. So Ed, thank you so much for being on the pod, and bye everyone.
Thank you so much. Love it.
Peace.